Detriangulate the child. One of the painful experiences is split loyalty and split love. God, I sound so romantic. I sound like I'm right out of Dionne Warwick. But yeah, loving two people at the same time can be very confusing and can be very painful. Loving someone who hurt you can be very painful. How can you love someone who hurt you? How can you love someone that you hurt? Those are very serious questions and relate to pain. How can you still love someone? I'll never forget a caregiver asking me, how can my children miss someone that they never lived with? Oh, anybody want to try to answer that in the chat? How can a child miss someone that they never lived with? How can they miss it, and what are they missing? Anybody want to try to put that in chat?
They miss the idea of it, Lindsay, because they know they are supposed to live with them.
Oh, okay.
They can miss the idea or the things associated with that person and the sense of belonging.
Right.
The hope of spending time with them.
The hope.
And a child will always have an inner connection with their birth parents.
Yep, there you go. And it's prenatal. Some people say it's prenatal.
And missing the normalcy of living with a parent.
Was the word the normalcy?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, that's all the questions.
Oh, that was excellent. Yeah. Those are all the reasons why someone can miss someone that you never lived with. Here's my next question. How can you love someone who hurt you? Please put that in the chat. The answer. I should ask a more personal question. Have you ever hurt someone that you loved? But let's go with the first question first. How can you love someone who hurt you? Why do you still do that? And I'm making reference to children who have been abused and neglected. So I'm not just being theoretical.
Okay, we have from Crystal, because love and hurting a person are two separate things. Abby says you want them to do better and be the person you want them to be.
Okay.
And Angela says wanting their approval and love even more.
No, even more. Even with the hurt.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And because you focus on the times they didn't hurt you, the good times.
Okay.
And there's trauma bonding.
Yes. Who wrote trauma bonding? Could you ask them to define that, please?
Cindy.
Could you ask Cindy to define that, trauma bonding, for the audience?
Developing an attachment love which includes hurt and pain.
Okay. I couldn't think of a better definition. It's a love and attachment process that includes love and pain. Pain is considered part of. Here's the comment. Here's the statement that you hear. He hurt me because he loved me. Or how about this one? It hurts me more than it hurts you. Or I'm doing this to you because I love you. Those are the statements that go along with trauma bonding. So if you hear those kinds of statements, how about this one? It hurts me the more than it hurts you. That's a trauma bonding statement. And parents use that all the time. Okay. And I'm kind of being playful with it. Okay. You know, when you give medicine and you know it's hurting them, but you still do it anyway, even though it's going to hurt them, and you're doing it out of love, you will say things like that. I remember. Okay. But we're talking about as an adult, not as a child, and still saying that to an adult or to a child or to a teen. So I just want to give examples of and phrases that'll cue you into when you're hearing trauma bonding, because many of the children are bonded that way. Okay, I'm going to ask this next question. Have you ever hurt, this is very personal, but have you ever hurt anyone that you loved? And the reason why I'm asking that, and you don't even have to put that in the chat, just answer it yourself. And the reason why I'm asking that, asking these questions about these dichotomy questions, These love, hate, these yin yang questions. The reason why I'm bringing them up is because you will have to talk to the children about the contradictions and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and what to accept and what not to accept. Because these are situations and conflicts and loyalties and split loyalties. These are the triangulations that your children will experience because of these conflicting feelings. So I want you to be prepared to have those kind of discussions. Now, here's another script that can go with detriangulating the children, and it has to do with them loving you and loving their parents. It's okay to still love your parents, even though I know you see how we don't get along. I know you prefer to live with your parents and not with us, but it's okay. They're your parents. I would feel the same way, and we can't replace them. In fact, if I was your parent, I would feel proud and good about knowing you want to be with me and want to return with me and still love me. So it's a compliment to the kids to be able to love that way. That's what that last statement is about. Because kids love that way. It's a compliment to the kids. It's a compliment to the parents to at least have made that kind of attachment. And that first part is so important for the kids to know that they can love you and them. And here's the part that's most important. And you won't punish them if they still love their mom and dad. You won't leave them if they still love mom and dad. You're not going to make them choose. That's the healing part of that statement. You don't have to choose. And my love is unconditional. And I can love you even if you don't love me. I can love you even without being with you. That's that unconditional love. I can love you and want what's best for you, even if it's not best for me. That does sound like Dionne Warwick. That sounds like a lyric, doesn't it? Okay, all right. Well, you can tell what I grew up under. But that's the kind of relationship, that's the detriangulation that you want to occur. Bond with them when they're in pain. That's a bonding experience. When they are in pain, when they are hurting, and you can still be there, that brings you closer. You've heard that story, what doesn't break you makes you. This will either make the relationship or break the relationship. This will either bring you closer or bring you further apart. And sharing in that pain and sharing the journey during the pain is what makes the children attached to you. And that gives you credibility. And then at the same time, you're also showing and demonstrating how to help others, how to attach to others, how to be there for other people when they are in pain and when they're hurting. You demonstrate that. And they'll remember that. That's the memory. The other thing is you also model for them unconditional love. Now I'm really going to sound romantic now. I think of daughters and them being told and meeting men, who may be very manipulative. Well, if